Hi, everybody. I wanted to take a few moments to give you an update on the comings and goings of the magazine. I'm going to try and touch everything that rustles around in here. So if there's any questions about this or things that have crossed your mind, hopefully I will address that. But before I begin, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for your contributions to the magazine, your wonderful gifts and talents and insights. They're just treasures. Each one of them are treasures to me. And my cat wants to join us. But I'm just so grateful. Each one of you has something unique and special, and the prana and energy about it is exactly what I wanted to bring to readers. And we're succeeding. And I have another new writer coming on in February and another one in March. And the reason I've brought on a couple different writers is I'm trying to balance out the content to make sure there's a little something for everybody in the spectrum of spirituality. And the two people, additional writers coming on, happen to be men. And I want some male energy, which is presenting from that viewpoint and men's issues. Because of course we all know in spiritual magazines and content, it's always women, and we're wise. We should be a dominant force. So I'm not saying anything negative about that. Okay, but thank you, everybody. I'm just so appreciative. And I think we're hitting the goal. I wanted you to understand the process a little bit and where we are logistically in the creation of the magazine and how it flows. Because a lot of you might email me or something of that sort, and it's literally taken me 3 to 4 days or more to respond to people, which is highly unlike me. But that's because I still have my business. I still see 15 to 20 clients a week. I have my marketing, and I'm doing a live on TikTok almost every night of the week to, on purpose, gain more followers and attention to the magazine. And I will continue to do that and market and put myself out there on behalf of the magazine for the foreseeable future. And I wish I had more time. So if I don't respond immediately to your email, or if I respond and it's more of a shorter reply, it's only because I'm really busy. But I wanted to also talk to you about how the magazine progresses. So I know I asked you guys to have your article to me by the 12th of the month, if you could. And for now, that remains intact because there's multiple steps in the process. It takes time for the magazine to process itself and then be able to meet a first of the month deadline. It isn't automatic. So what happens is currently, when you send me your article, I glance over it, and if it needs some kind of editing or I would like it to be edited, I would send it over to Effie. Effie has her schedule. She can be busy too. So maybe she can turn it around in 24 hours. Maybe she can't. It depends on a variety of factors. If it's something I can just do myself, I will do it myself. Then I load it into Canva so that I can process it in a magazine format, and I add images and such and graphics, things like that. And then I send it over to Bahutan, who is the expert in the magazine design system we're using, which makes our magazine look so great. And so there's multiple steps, and Batuhan collects all of the articles and everything I sent to him. And then when he has everything, then he can begin to put it into the system. He can't put it into the system until he has everything. And I send everything to him as soon as I get it. So I'm on to the next thing, right? Because I'm still doing my clients. I'm reading the articles, everything. So, and what I'm saying at this process, my process with your article takes about an hour, hour and a half, and then it goes to Batuhan. And then when he finally has everything, and for instance, in this month, my cover story interview didn't happen until this past Sunday. I think it's the 18th. And so I had to interview her, I had to transcribe the article, and I had to edit it. It took me literally all day to do that. And so in the evening, I was able to send that final interview over to Batuhan, and he had everything. Well, now it will take him 5 to 6 days to put all the content in the system. It's an Adobe system, by the way. And then it comes back to me where I can do a final edit. Last month, I didn't get to do proofread it the way I would have liked to, and there were a few mistakes, so to be expected. I'm not worried about it. But this month, I want to see if I can hit the mark even closer. And then before you know it, here we are. February 1st will be here and we'll be ready to put it out. Okay. Now, my personal goal is I want to learn the system Bahutan is using so I can take out that one step. Now, he's an incredible designer and has a lot of experience in magazines, so I'm not going to completely let him go because his experience is invaluable to me. But I want to be able to technically use the system so that when I get your magazine, it doesn't go to one system and then another, that I'm just putting it in the system right away. And I already have a vision for how I want the magazine to play out each month. And Bahutan may not. You know, he has to work with my vision. He doesn't know what I'm thinking until he asks me. And I have to say, well, put this here and put that there. And so once I can remove that step, we might have a little more flexibility with deadlines and things like that. Right now, it's just taking a lot more time. What else do I want to talk to you about? You know, it's come up about how do I pick the covers, who gets on the cover. How I've picked the cover has several influences to it. The energy is the most important thing to me. Is this a vibration that I think is correct for the type of publication that I want to put out into the world? So, for instance, when I chose Asha Nayaswami for January, it was because she, in my view, is a very wise, profound, significant spiritual teacher on the planet. This magazine is a spiritually based magazine. And so, I knew that she would have levity. I knew that she would have depth. And I knew that she had a very broad audience so that we would get 1 million+ eyes on our magazine the first month out of the gate. She happens to be a personal friend of mine, and I know she loves me. And so she would do it for me, if for nothing else. But she also believes we have very similar ideologies on spirituality. So I just thought that was the perfect first issue. It kind of touched all bases. Now, in February, we have someone who is an animal activist, which ties right into our one of our missions, which is to support animal welfare. She also has a TV show coming up. She also has a significant following, but she's also aligned spiritually with the points of view about the magazine. And, you know, it's in sync. You know, I'm not just putting anybody on there. They have to kind of check all the boxes. In March, I have someone who is a fitness person, but she's also, again, spiritually aligned and has incredible ideas about health and wellness. And the thing about her is she happens to work for an organization that literally has thousands and thousands of people who participate in their organization. And they will buy copies of the magazine and put it out, and they have an entryway as people walk into the facility. And so we're going to get a different type of exposure than we would ever get. And so, you know, again, it's hitting different marks. I have to pay attention to exposure. I need to pay attention to spiritual alignment. I need to pay attention to, do they align with our values of the magazine and what we're trying to help people with? Okay. And so, and this is how it will be, rinse and repeat as we go, that people have a following, people have a message, people have something that's important, they have an energy, and then some people will have larger followings than others. And I kind of keep recycling those to keep a rhythm going with the magazine. If you have any questions about that, I can always talk to you further about it. And so I guess the biggest things are in the next month or two, I'm going to be trying to learn the Adobe system so that I can process the articles when they come in and save that additional step and use Bahutan as a consultant rather than a technical assistant in that regard. and just keep the wonderful articles coming. And then, of course, as I get the logistical piece really running smoothly, I'll be doing all kinds of marketing. Perhaps I'll be doing some grant writing and trying to get some additional funding into the magazine. I would love to be able to, at some point, pay the writers for their work. In the meantime, just whatever I can do to support you, I want to do that. And lastly, for those of you on the board or who have wanted to serve on the board, we will have a board meeting in June. I don't really see any reason to have one before that because I think we need to get some traction under our belt to see what's worked, what hasn't worked. The year end for this company, the Soulful Success magazine, closes on June 30th. And so it would be great in July to start that new year with new ideas, new goals, new blood, that type of thing. All right. So I hope you find this helpful. I know I am extremely busy. It's a happy busy, but I don't tend to, I'm not able really to respond as quickly as anybody who knows me knows that I respond the same day when I get an email. I'm on it. But given what's going on with this beautiful magazine that we all are part of, it's just, I'm stretched a little more thin than usual, but it won't always be this way. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for your contributions. None of this would be happening without you, and I'm just so appreciative, really. And I'll just keep you posted. I hope every month I can at least jump in and say hi to you guys and tell you what's up. And yeah, that'll be that. All right. So happy Merc Retro Shadow period and have a great rest of the month. Take care.